And I'm here as a volunteer. I am a lawyer, but I'm not acting as a lawyer in this case. I'm just helping out the legal team here. And going to explain to you the evidence that we have from State Farm Arena here in Fulton County, which goes to what Ray was talking about in terms of fraud or misrepresentation. You're looking at one big room here. This is where, according to our witnesses, who've given us sworn affidavits, this is where the absentee ballots and military ballots are being tabulated on election day. So we have the tape from first thing in the morning all the way past the close of the polls. What you have is essentially two Republican field organizers who were sent here to be observers. At no time were they actually permitted to observe in a meaningful way. So now what will happen is these frames can move around. So this can get a little confusing, but I'll make sure to make it clear. We have two observers there that are going to show up, not at this point, this is in the morning, as you can see the daylight. They're going to get there at about 8 o'clock to watch the tabulation of absentee and military ballots. But according to their affidavits, at about 10 o'clock, there was one person working the polls who told everyone in the room to leave on the basis they were going to stop counting and return at 8:30 in the morning. So if I can get the frame for approximately 10 o'clock or 10:20-ish. Okay, so you can see what time it is. So we're at about 10 o'clock. And what you'll notice is that the workers are present, working, and you have, back in that corner I pointed out to you, the press and the Republican observers. So according to the witnesses, the Republican observers, there is a lady who has blonde braids who comes out to announce we're going to stop counting. Everyone go home. And in fact, we see that. What happens is everyone clears out, including the Republican observers and the press, but 4 people stay behind and continue counting and tabulating well into the night from that point, which is going to be about 10:25 when they all clear out, or 10:30. And they will continue counting unobserved, unsupervised, not in public view as your statute requires, until about 1 in the morning. The reason we know this is because when our Republican observers were forced to leave, they went to the Central Tabulation Center and they got word from a news crew that in fact counting had continued. They have information that not everybody left according to plan and some people stayed behind. So this shocked them, so they returned back to State Farm Arena at about 1 o'clock in the morning, where they confirmed that in fact people had just left State Farm Arena in contravention of what they had been told by the supervisors who are running this operation. So, okay, we're still at about 10 o'clock. Can you take us to about 10:25 so we can see the change? You're going to watch this place be busy and filled up to emptied at some time between 10:25 and 10:35, which is consistent with what the affidavits say. The place is a ghost town. This is where the people were vacated and told, go home, come back at 8:30, we will now stop working and stop counting. But notice who stays behind. You have 4 people, consistent with our affidavits, who stayed behind. And so you'll see the lady in purple, you'll see 2 women in yellow in the back, which is where the scanners are there at the top right frame. And then the lady with the blonde braids also, who told everyone to leave. Those are the 4 people who will stay behind. So the Republican observers said they were the last people to leave State Farm Arena, along with the Fox News crew, accepting those 4 people. So what you're going to see, look at the ladies in yellow. You'll see that they will begin just sitting still, doing nothing, ostensibly not working, because after all, they said they're going to stop counting. They will wait until the witnesses over there in that roped off area, the press and the observers, leave the room. Then you'll see them move into action and begin scanning ballots. Okay, so I think What we can do now is fast forward to about 11. Do you see them? But the ladies in yellow are still there. Yes, keep your eyes on the lady in purple and the two in yellow and the woman in the blue apron with blonde braids, because those are the people who stay behind. Okay, so what you're going to see happen at about 11 o'clock is, once everyone is gone, coast is clear, they are going to pull ballots out from underneath a table. Watch this table. Okay, is it normal to store suitcases of ballots under a table, under a tablecloth? Is that how they run the place? Maybe this is what they've been doing all day. Maybe this is what they're doing under all the tables. So we went back and watched the video as a team of us. We don't see that. What we see is, typically, you're going to find ballots, you know, back in this corner, or coming in through a door, and then they get moved and circulated throughout the room. And it can get a little confusing because they have these black containers of ballots. They have the U.S. Postal Service containers. But what we were trying to do when we determined that there were ballots being pulled out from underneath this table is, you know, what was the chain of custody? Where did they come from? Who put them there? When did they put them there? We only reviewed this at about 1 in the morning last night for a couple of hours, so we're going to need about 14 hours to watch it carefully, because we fast forwarded through it several times and could not find that particular frame. But here's what we can tell you for sure. At about 8 o'clock in the morning, and we're going to roll this back and show it to you. There you go. So now they're going to start pulling these ballots out from under this table. This table, the black one, was placed there by the lady with the blonde braids at about 8:22 a.m. in the morning. So she put that table there. So the same person who's staying behind now, the same person who cleared the place out under the pretense that we're going to stop counting, is the person who put the table there at 8:22 in the morning. Yeah, I saw 4 suitcases come out from underneath the table. Yeah, upper right hand, you see the gentleman in the red. So he just pulled one out. So what are these ballots doing there, separate from all the other ballots? And why are they only counting them whenever the place is cleared out with no witnesses? Is the question. So these machines can process about 3,000 ballots an hour. You have multiple machines there, and they're there for 2 hours. So you do the math. How many ballots went through those machines in those 2 hours when there was no one there to supervise, to be present, consistent with your statutes and rules, to supervise the tabulation? We believe that could easily be, and probably is certainly, beyond the margin of victory in this race.
Conteo voto por voto, el ex vicepresidente está más cerca de alcanzar ese número que es tan codiciado, y en las últimas horas se ha igualado la votación en Georgia, donde el presidente Donald Trump tenía ventaja. Pero Julio, tú tienes los números más recientes de esta batalla por la Casa Blanca, ¿cierto?
Sí, Paulina, es que mientras estamos conversando están entrando los resultados, se siguen contando los votos y la carrera en Georgia está de verdad muy cerrada. Mire usted, es ya un empate, 49.4% para el presidente Trump, 49.4% para el vicepresidente Joe Biden. Y mire la diferencia de votos entre los dos. Apenas 1.800 votos separan a los dos candidatos. Esto es un empate, siguen contándose los votos, particularmente los votos de la zona metropolitana de Atlanta, la zona metropolitana de Savannah, que son regiones que han votado demócrata, así que se espera que esos votos también puedan ir.
Las cámaras no mienten. Pues resulta, señores, que emiten 5 videos de cómo, después de la medianoche del 3 de noviembre, cuando se suponía que las elecciones habían terminado y el gran titán patriota había ganado de forma aplastante, se cambian los votos y le son asignados al señor Fraude. Robo de votos en vivo. Ha habido mucho análisis de los datos en vivo en la noche de las elecciones, mostrando disminuciones de votos y cambios de votos. Un reportero del Gateway Pundit que trabaja en los medios encontró varios ejemplos de votos cambiados que fueron transmitidos en vivos por televisión en los principales estados en disputa: Pensilvania, Atlanta, Georgia, Virginia. y Wisconsin con un aumento extraordinario de votos del señor Fraude para invertir el estado a las 4:43 am del día 4 de noviembre. Los videos están recortados y bien explicados para ver los hallazgos en los 4 estados hasta ahora. Y aquí es donde el presidente vio disminuir sus votos en vivo en la CNN la noche de las elecciones. Mantengamos fija la mirada en los números de la parte inferior y verán ustedes cómo de repente se invierten las cifras. Veamos. ¿Pudieron verificarlo? Supongo que eso de quitar los votos ya contados durante la noche de las elecciones es algo nuevo para los demócratas, ¿verdad?